There we go.
This the War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics in a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out Smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space, now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
One more. Can't hear anything, Ryan. We can't hear anything, Ryan.
Drop the ball.
Oh, no. It's not his fault.
Fucking technology.
I know, man.
Yeah,
It's the worst.
Come
All right.
on, Ryan. Come through. Where are you?
I can try and save this segment. Do you want me to try and play it? I'm going to try and play it.
Fucking A. Do it up.
Where is it? I'll find it on the iPad.
And if that doesn't work, fucking B.
And yeah, then we'll just beat it. Let's see what this does. Is this somebody made this? Is that what it is?
The rumor I'm hearing is that this is his AEW theme music.
Okay.
Did you know JR had no idea that Ambrose was coming out?
Because they like to get JR's genuine reaction.
And what a reaction.
Oh, hello. Like, oh, some shit's about to go down here.
Yeah. Business is about to pick up.
Well, in more ways than one, because, well, first of all, welcome to the War Report, brought to you by TagMeADate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for fans of professional wrestling. Fans of professional wrestling. Fans of professional wrestling. If you're a fan of professional wrestling, you had a good weekend. If you're a fan of sports entertainment, you were bitter and a whiny little baby for the last 4 days. But we're going to get into that. But if you're a pro wrestling fan that grew up on pro wrestling, you enjoyed yourself this weekend. Because it was
a
double or
great
nothing.
time to be a wrestling fan again.
Yeah.
I am so fucking fired up. Listen,
Damn right.
listen. The AEW has come to play.
They killed it.
Yeah, I mean, they're not fucking around.
This war that is about to be recreated is going to just bring the love of wrestling back. If you were not around during the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars, now this is not going to be a Monday Night War. They're not going to be on Monday nights.
Right.
This and that. At the end of the day, it's still going to be a war because it's going to be a ratings war. Who did better this week, which is only going to hopefully make WWE even better, just like WCW did. Right. This is such a great time to be a fan, and AEW has set the bar high. Double or nothing. People were complaining about the $50 to order the show. Let me tell you something. It was worth every fucking penny and more.
It ended up being, yeah.
Every match was solid. No matches were rushed. There were at least 4 different times that they took jabs at WWE that I saw. The production was done well. The booking was done well. The show was done spectacularly. I mean, it was just, we've got so much to talk about, but
yeah,
if the future of AEW is any reflection of what we just saw at Double or Nothing, what a great time to be a fan. I am so pumped that this is great. This is great.
It definitely is, man. I want to point out something because I mentioned it. I already got going on that, and you mentioned something else that I want to touch on too with the WWE thing. But here's the deal: for those of you who don't know, because there are a lot of wrestling fans or people who watch WWE or watch whatever they watch online or otherwise, they don't know this. back in 2001, when WWE went out of business, or WCW went out of business and was sold to the WWE, the speculation was there was like 3-4 million people, depending on when they were watching WCW. They watched WCW. 3 or 4 million people. It was 5, it was 6, it was 7, but then towards the end it was probably 3 million, 2 million, somewhere in that range. The speculation was when WWE bought WCW, you would take the 5 or 6 million that WWE was doing, and then the 3 million, let's say, that WCW was doing, and you combine them, and you made 8 million viewers every Monday. Well, that didn't happen. There was a whole subset of fans that just stopped watching. And there were people like me who just kept watching because, well, it's wrestling on Monday night. Let's watch wrestling. If you like Starbucks and you go to Starbucks in Hartford, or you go to Starbucks in Philadelphia, or go to Starbucks in Seattle, the coffee's the same every time. And it's not bad coffee. It's just very the same. If you go to a WWE show in Hartford or Philadelphia or Seattle or Miami or wherever the fuck they run a show, it's very consistent. It's branded. It is franchised. It is streamlined to the extreme. Not everybody likes that. They want to go to a different coffee shop. This is my different coffee shop here. This AEW is my different coffee shop. If you're a Starbucks fan, that's great. I'm making the choice to go to a different place. Now, what you shouldn't do is be like, oh, why did they open up another coffee shop down the street? We got a perfectly fine Starbucks right here. Don't be that guy. If that's the case, AEW is not for you. You are a WWE fan. You are a sports entertainment fan. And that's fine, because that's the way you like your coffee. I like my coffee differently. I'm going somewhere else. AEW put on as close to a WCW show as I've seen since 2001. Let us have this, man. This is for wrestling fans who watch wrestling shows to watch wrestlers wrestle in wrestling matches.
I don't know. Even 2000 WCW wasn't that, like 2002.
That's true. Maybe I have to go back to like 1999 to feel what WCW was really like. But you know what I mean?
I'll say this.
Oh.
The feeling that I got when I watched 90% of Double or Nothing, because I haven't even finished it yet.
Oh my God!
I am up to the Young Bucks. Okay, that's where I had to stop to come on the show.
Did you watch that match or finish
Not yet.
Oh,
so that's where I've left off. So I've still got a little bit to go, and I know it's going to be.
Yeah, but
of course, I know what happened at the end. Of course,
it's going to be a ride, man. It's going to be a ride.
Well, the whole show's been a ride, but the feeling that I got watching this show reminded me of TNA, the Asylum years, not because of the way it was displayed or the way the matches were. I'm not referring to that, but what I'm referring to is the feeling I got of, oh shit, they could be the next contenders. They could be the ones to give the WWE the next ride for their money. And then, of course, Dixie Carter fucked it up.
They were close. Yeah.
You know,
they had the resource.
Time when they first started and they were in the asylum that I sat there and I said, oh boy, they got a shot here and they fucked it up. AEW is not going to fuck it up. Based on what I just saw, they are doing it all the right way. And listen, we haven't seen a weekly production. We haven't seen what stories are going to happen and how they're going to be able to put it out there. So, this is the first, taste really of what to expect. So we can't get ahead of ourselves, but they are in line. If they continue to do what they did this Double or Nothing,
no, absolutely,
they're going to be around for a long time, and they are going to give them the run for their money. But I also want to just say this too: if you call yourself a pro wrestling fan, if you call yourself a Yankee fan, or you call yourself a Met fan, or a Red Sox fan, and they're really doing shitty and they're off their game and they're having horrible seasons, if you will,
if you will.
If you will. As a Yankee fan, you don't bandwagon and decide I'm going to become a Met fan. If you're a Red Sox fan, you sure as fuck ain't going to become a Yankee fan. So just because AEW is bringing something that is exciting and there's so much to talk about when we break down the show, that doesn't mean you should stop watching WWE. At the end of the day, remember what got you to become a wrestling fan.
Yeah, man.
It was WWE and WCW and ECW. These are the programs that got us into wrestling.
Yeah.
WWE is the Babe Ruth of professional wrestling. So don't just, everyone shits on Raw on a weekly basis. Everyone is brutal. Everyone is a hardcore wrestling fan and they know it all. But at the end of the day, WWE still brings something to the table and they're revving up. They're getting
I hope so.
Together.
Because last night,
but AEW was
last night on Raw, and we'll talk about AEW a lot more before we go into Raw. Last night on Raw, the bell didn't ring for the first match until 8:51 p.m., 51 minutes after the wrestling show started. There wasn't a wrestling match for 51 minutes. And guess what? It went 2 minutes because Drew McIntyre attacked Lance, which is funny because when they said Anoa'i cousin's going to come out, I'm like, they're going to screw you. It's going to be Lance. And I knew it was, I just had a feeling Lance was coming out. But anyway, it went 2 minutes and Shane tapped the guy out. And then we went like another 30 minutes before we had another match, including Shane's match on Raw. There were 5 matches. If we take it out, there were 4. It's a 3-hour-long show. There were 4 matches. 4. And the only one that got any kind of time was the women's tag team match. You had Cesaro and Ricochet, which was a good match, but they didn't give him much time. And then Sami Zayn, I don't know what they're doing with Sami Zayn. Because that electric chair segment was terrible. And then he lost in the span of 2 weeks. He's lost to the WWE champion and the Universal champion. So why does anything he say matters?
And we're going to have to get back to Sami Zayn too, but we'll tackle that more later. You're right.
AEW, to be fair, I'm not going to sit here and jerk everybody off the whole time. There were, when the Battle Royal started, the cameras were a little, Battle Royals are hard to shoot. I get it. They're just starting this team. They have
trial and tribulation, it's going to happen. And I don't mean to cut you off, but since you mentioned the Battle Royal, I think we need to start there because
you got to start at the beginning.
Well, because not only is it the beginning, this was their pre-show and they had 2 matches in the pre-show. It was different. And there's a lot of people unsure how they felt about it. And at first, I got to be honest, when they were explaining it, I was still very confused. I don't know if it was that I just wasn't paying close enough attention because it started to make sense as it started going. And I got to tell you, we're so afraid, I think, sometimes of adapting to something new. Especially when you're used to it being a certain way for so many years. This was a different spin on a battle royal. It was somewhat correlated to the theme of the night with being in Vegas and the chips and the cards and everything else. It was definitely different, and I actually did enjoy it. It was just a different way of doing it. So I did enjoy it, and you're going to have to forgive me through this entire conversation of AEW. I'm still really trying to get familiar with some of the guys.
Well, they did.
There's a lot of new faces for me.
The funny thing is they had a whole building full of people there to watch that show, and it seemed like a lot of them were already tuned in to who most of the people, like they knew MJF, they knew the Elite guys.
There was a lot of Lucha Underground guys.
Yeah, they knew the stories from like being the Elite on YouTube. They followed all that stuff. So people saw, those people saw that stuff. I thought they did a pretty good job on commentary. First of all, Alex Marvez, I can take him or leave him. Excalibur,
I was not a fan of him at all.
Excalibur and JR did great.
Excalibur did nothing for me.
Really? I liked him.
He did nothing for me. I don't know. Maybe I just have to get used to him. But nothing is better than hearing good old JR back where he belongs, and that's doing play-by-play.
Yeah.
I mean, there is something to be said when you hear that voice and you just know it's good old JR. It just warms your heart as a wrestling fan. And I'm so glad that he is the lead guy, because he was the only thing that kept me interested in listening to them. The other guy
who made it sound
or
legitimate.
whatever, that guy needs to go. He first of all, he fucked up a few times, and then he fucked up on the sale date of the next show, and then goes, well, that's why we're a team, guys. And
yeah, he wasn't the best. Excalibur's been doing it for a long time, so I like that Excalibur's in there. I think it was just JR and Excalibur probably would have been a pretty good show.
You know what they should have done?
Well,
JR and Tony Schiavone.
I was just gonna say that. I said my ideal commentary team would be those two guys, and maybe throw in Conrad.
There is rumors that JR is advocating pretty hard at getting the King.
Yeah, because his contract,
I would be totally okay with.
Well, I wouldn't even mind Mike Tenay either.
Mike Tenay, if they could get him, he was in Vegas. He lives in Vegas, so he could have been.
Tenay lives in Vegas. I didn't know that.
Tenay lives in Vegas. He's like a sports handicap horse racing kind of guy. Like that's one of his other things. He does a lot of gambling picks and whatever. So that's like what he's doing for a living now since TNA fired him a couple years ago. He hasn't done any wrestling. He's made no appearances. He was apparently, however they did it in TNA when they got rid of him, they did him dirty. So he hasn't made any wrestling appearances in like 5 years.
That's a shame.
Because he was one of the best voices. And that's the thing. You got a guy like Tony Schiavone, you got a guy like Mike Tenay. Let's dig some of these guys up and put them to work.
If
Lucha's not working, get Matt Stryker.
Yeah.
I enjoy Matt Stryker's commentary a lot.
I like how they brought back Justin Roberts too, by the way.
Justin Roberts did a pretty good job.
It was good to see him.
It was so weird to hear him announce the AEW names. Like he says Kenny Omega. You're like, oh, that's okay. So that's how Justin Roberts would introduce Kenny Omega. Yeah, like you got to hear this. This is everything was so new. The Battle Royale I liked. I thought it was, like you said, they did something new with, you couldn't just do your traditional.
I love the ending with Adam Page.
Adam Page came out, got a big pop.
They
made good on.
Wait, can I just say real quick? The loudest pop, in my opinion, of that entire Battle Royal was, we know him as the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger.
Yes.
Sean Spears.
And
they were still doing the 10 that count like crazy. Yeah.
He's still doing the 10 thing. Yeah.
He really, he looked good. I mean, he was in there for a while. He did his thing. He looked good. Even Billy Gunn. We talk about him for a second.
Billy Gunn's
great, and he's still in great shape. I mean, he can still go. Tommy Dreamer looked great. Well, I mean, not physically. He looks like gained a few pounds. But
Tommy gained a few pounds. Go on.
But it was just great to see all these guys back in there, and it was just it was really, even the finish to it. It was just, it was kind of a generic finish, I guess you could say, but it was still entertaining, and it was a great way to kick off the pre-show.
And that MJF, he's going to be a great heel.
Well, I mean, he already is.
Blueberry scarf.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
He did that thing with Bret Hart later when Bret Hart introduced the title. We'll talk.
Reminds me of EC3 a little bit with that, at least in his TNA run.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, he's I mean, he runs that "I'm better than you when I know it" kind of gimmick.
I'm so excited.
Friedman, yeah. Well, he was fine. He was Feinstein for like a year, and then somebody finally smartened him up that Feinstein would not be the last name you want to take going on in the rest of your career. But that's another story for another day. He is now Maxwell Jacob Friedman. So in MLW, he's part of this group called the Dynasty, and it's him, Richard Holiday, and Alexander Hammerstone, and it's kind of like, they're rich kids. That's kind of the deal. They're better than you. They went to private school. They got money.
Like the Mean Street Posse.
Yeah, except these guys can fucking wrestle. Like that's sorry, Pete Gas and Joey Abs. You guys were not Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat out there.
They definitely weren't.
Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper's character in Wedding in
Yes, exactly.
Wedding,
There's Zach. Yeah.
what do you call it?
Yep. Wedding Crashers. He was Zach
Wedding
or
Crashers.
Zach. Yeah. So that was a good battle royal. Jungle Boy looked good. Luchasaurus looked good. Joey Janela looked good. Everybody fucking looked good in this. Jimmy Havoc looked good. Orange Cassidy came out, and oh my god, the whole thing was great. So the battle royal was a fun battle royal. Again, camera cuts missed some stuff. That's going to happen on your first show. Kip Sabian, Sammy Guevara was a pretty good singles match between. These are two guys that the crowd didn't really know, and by the end of the match, they had them sold on their personalities. So that's a win. The crowd started off quiet and then got into the match by the end. That's all you can ask.
Sammy's got this Justin Bieber look.
Yes, he's very like. He came out, the first thing he did was strike this pose and stuck his tongue out like a girl on Instagram, and I wanted to punch him in the face. And that's how you know he's got a good character. If you just want to punch him right in his fucking face.
Look, the Miz perfected that.
Yes, right. The Miz perfected the you've got a punchable face thing. Sammy Guevara's continued that. That was pretty good. We open up with that was the end of the pre-show. The actual pay-per-view starts out with SCU against the Strong Hearts.
See, now that's a perfect example. Now, I'm very familiar with Kazarian and Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
I had no idea who this Scorpion, or whatever they call him.
Guy. Well, he actually used to dress, to take a little divergence here. Back in the day, he was Scorpio Sky because he wore a costume and a mask similar to Scorpion in Mortal Kombat.
Gotcha. Okay. See, so I had no idea. But boy, was I sold on him by the end of that match. That match was fantastic. I liked the finish with Kazarian and the Best Moonsault era Tombstone type deal. That you know what it is too, man. That match was just it moved.
Yes.
You know what? There was like very little downtime in that match.
Well, the OWE guys, though, they're
phenomenal.
It's a Chinese promotion, but those three were Japanese wrestlers. Shima, T-Hawk, and I apologize, I don't know the third name, but they all
absolutely fantastic.
Shima and T-Hawk.
Heard of. The other ones I didn't.
Shima was supposed to be like the next big thing, like 10 years ago. I don't know what happened to him. T-Hawk is like his protege, and he's like the next coming of he's like being
I forgot what the other guy's name was.
Yeah, I don't really but they all of them wrestle, and that's the thing. We don't know him, but he wrestled his fucking ass off and had a good match.
And we're talking about him. So what does that tell you? I will also say this too. The rules in that match were a little different as well. Referee discretion. So
20 counts.
Yeah, I mean it was definitely different, and that was with 6-man tags. It looks like tag team matches are still traditional, but 6-man tags work a little differently, and it was pretty cool.
It reminded me of the luchadors in WCW.
Yes,
right. Yeah, it was more lucha style rules for sure, and maybe the 6-man tag titles are something that they're going to introduce down the line. So let's see.
Yeah, it was another great one. I mean, it was just every match, man. It was just. And it wasn't like you saw moves you haven't seen before.
Right.
It was just
until you get to the Young Bucks against the Lucha Brothers, you're going to see some shit you've never seen before.
Well, now that makes me want to see it even more. Not that I see it, but
so next match is the women's what was supposed to be a triple threat. Brandy did the New Day.
I marked out so fucking hard.
Awesome fucking Kong.
Well, she goes, I don't just want to be a great match. I want it to be an awesome match. I'm like, oh, business could pick up. And then all of a sudden, bang, bang, music hits. Awesome Kong. Speaking of big pops, people lost their minds when Awesome Kong came out.
She got one of the loudest pops of the night.
She looks amazing.
And I gotta tell you, I'm kind of surprised she didn't win the match because as soon as she came out, I was like, "Oh, there you go." But
she doesn't need to.
Great match. The women killed it. I mean, and listen, I won't say that the women were better than WWE women, but the caliber is equal. I mean, those women wrestled their asses off.
I know at least Britt Baker. And
I'm not very familiar with Britt Baker. Like, I know her name. Like
Britt Baker's Adam Cole's girlfriend, fiance, wife.
She was on Chairshot Reality a little while back. She's a Pittsburgh native.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I knew the name, and I know of her. I know about Kyla Ray. But
Kyla Ray is like Bailey on speed.
Yeah, she's like she does the Bailey thing, and that
The
was why
smiley thing. I kind of like it though.
that was why Cody was talking about that over the people got all up in arms about.
Yeah, like he took a shot at Bailey.
But it was a shot at Bailey's booking. It wasn't a shot at Bailey herself.
Yeah. Well, Mark's the
Yeah. Well, he's insulting Bailey. He said she's not that nice in person. He's like saying, no, nobody's as nice in person as Bailey is in wrestling. Bailey is so nice she wouldn't hit Alexa Bliss with a kendo stick and lost the match. That's what he's talking about. Dumb shit like that.
right.
People need to keep up.
It's
Anyway,
impossible to be that as nice as Bailey's character.
absolutely.
But
I mean, I have a bar.
real quick, I just want to say this: the people that are saying that the difference between wrestling and entertainment. I'm like, first of all, are you not entertained by wrestling matches? I find that entertaining too.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. They didn't spend the entire show having a goddamn barbecue out in the backyard. So
That was funny though.
That was funny, but it was like, oh, poor EC3.
Weird. Like,
He looked like he was just back there getting sloshed.
yeah, he was all of us on that night. Poor guy. But yeah, I liked Nyla Rose. I loved, first of all, for those of you who don't know, we'll just put it out there. Nyla Rose is the first male to female transsexual woman to
I never heard
sign a major wrestling contract. I'm sure there are other transgendered persons on the indies, but this is the first one.
You brought her up.
JR's reaction when she came out.
The best line of the night was when she went to the top rope and JR goes, "That's a whole lot of woman on the top. I'm telling you, if she comes and lands that, this is over."
Yeah, when she first came out and he goes, "That's a big woman." I'm just like, oh God, somebody please smarten this guy up. I just wanted to make sure JR didn't say the wrong thing.
That's a whole lot of woman.
Oh,
Austin Powers. She's a man, baby.
But then
It's a whole lot of man.
When Awesome Kong came out, Excalibur says Nyla Rose is now a cruiserweight, and you're like, oh shit. So that was fun.
Kong looked so good, though. It was so good to see her. I was
very happy.
I am such a big fan of hers, and it's just great. And it's a shame too because WWE didn't not use her right. They used her right. Just unfortunate circumstances happened. It's a whole convoluted
right. She was trying to have a baby. It was a whole deal. But I'm surprised they didn't bring her back because they set it up where she said to the Bella Twins, "Hey, I'm your karma. If you fuck up again, I'm coming back." After the whole situation with her health and everything evened out, I was surprised that they didn't have at least
just
some
like a one-off.
Yeah, but I would have liked it for like the Bella Twins to do something like years down the line, maybe in like the women's Royal Rumble, where they're cheating or they're getting some kind of advantage, and then karma comes back and gets them. Some kind of closure. We said the mystery GM was Hornswoggle. We didn't need closure on that. We needed closure on karma. Anyway, the ladies did wrestle a good match. It's, four-way matches are hard. You got to get people out of the ring.
What was it after that?
It was the tag team match, the best friends, Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, against Angelico and Jack Evans.
Now, those two I know from Lucha. Well, Jack Evans has been around a while.
Yeah, I was going to say Jack Evans has been around forever. Trent Beretta used to be with the WWE.
He's one of the Dude Busters.
Yep, and then Chucky T, Chuck Taylor, Dustin, Sexy Chucky, whatever.
I only know the shoes. The Chuck Taylor.
Yeah, no, he's been around. He's another guy that's been around for a while. Wrestled like PWG, all the big indies.
The best friends. Were they holding hands at one point?
Yes, their thing is they're best friends and they hold hands and they hug. When they did the hug and then they zoom out like the Rainmaker, like that's their big spot.
It's hilarious.
Shit, the Quebecers used to kiss each other on the cheek.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, the best friends, when they made their entrance, when they first got signed to AEW, they had that press conference and they announced the best friends. They came out top to bottom in like dark jeans and dark jean vests, dressed like Scott Hall when he came on to Nitro.
Nice.
So that was like their first debut. Was like they were
like we're taking over kind of thing.
Yeah. So I mean, that was good. Both of them were good tag teams. The thing that made me so sad, and I know you guys probably won't know them either, is at the end of the match, the lights went out, and the goddamn Super Smash Brothers were in the ring.
Yeah, I had no idea who those guys were.
Yeah, I had no fucking clue.
All right,
It was cool, but I had no idea who they were.
Back in the day, they both had masks on. They were Player Uno and Player Dos, the Super Smash Brothers.
It was like a video game.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything they did was video game themed. One of them decided to take the mask off. That's Stu, with who now apparently looks like the guy from God of War with the beard and the
Kratos.
face paint. Yeah, Kratos. So, but he's Jack. I mean, it's great. So Stu Grayson, and then now Evil Uno is what he Player Uno turned bad a while back, and now he's Evil Uno. So I think they're kind of continuing that. The lights go off again, come back on. All their minions are surrounding the ring with their masks on. Nope. The sad thing is like, I mean, listen, I've been following independent wrestling for longer than I should have. I was watching FMW death matches in the middle of my freshman year classes on a laptop. You know, I'd be the guy sitting in the back row seeing people get smashed with light tubes. Yeah, like it was. I would just I would just watch crazy shit on my, and I'd learn this stuff, and like I was so happy to see the Super Smash Brothers come out, and everybody goes, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Oh no," because they had visa issues. They couldn't wrestle in the U.S. for like the last 5 years, so they've kind of lost their U.S. following. But I mean, I'm excited for them because they're legit. Like as far as tag teams go, that to me legitimizes the tag team division because you've got this Angelico Jack Evans team, you've got Chucky T and Trent, you've got Super Smash, you've got fucking SCU if they want to do tag, they got the Strong Hearts, you can pick 2 guys from that, you got the Bucks, you got the Lucha Brothers. I mean, the whole thing.
And as it was announced at the next show, you got Cody and Dustin as a tag team.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get to that because that's going to be right after the 6-woman Joshi AJW match or whatever.
The only one I knew
I
from
gotta
that
be
was
honest, I didn't even watch that match. So somebody,
We'll go-
how was it? Because
I didn't really watch that match either.
It was fun. I mean, listen, if
It was cool to see Aja Kong, but that's about it.
Aja Kong was great. One of the girls is legit trained in like kendo, so she had the kendo stick and was doing tricks. And Excalibur says she's highly trained in kendo, blah blah blah. And then Aja Kong comes out with his big metal can and just swings the can and hits another girl in the head. And JR goes, and Aja Kong is trained in can. just the way he said it so deadpan.
Women dressed as like, I think Freddie Mercury.
Yes, she was dressed as Freddie Mercury. She was doing the stomp, stomp, clap. She got him to do "We Will Rock You," and then she did like a flying body press.
And then the other girl was dressed as, I forgot, something else.
I mean, they were all cute little Asian ladies, aside from Aja Kong, who's a big horrific monster, but that's intentional.
It was one that was really cute.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was a good introduction to that kind of style. It seems like they're going to incorporate some of the Asian wrestling into their main roster, so it'll be interesting to see where they go because you got to get people like with Steve and Eric not familiar with these women, so you got to get
learning curve. We got to get to know these people,
right? That's the thing. They got to have the next thing they should do is get you to know. Now that you've seen them wrestle, let's hear from them. Or
that's what I think the show, like once they get a weekly show, that's what it's going to be about. It's going to introduce these characters.
Yeah. But I liked that there was all, aside from video packages, it was all wrestling.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of gaga. The only real non-wrestling segment was when Bret Hart came out to introduce the very nice looking very nice looking.
He took a bit of a spill.
Yeah, when he was walking back, didn't realize that the stage split to the left and to the right and continued straight.
I like how MJF referenced the attack on.
Oh yeah, there's a fan coming, and then he laughed to himself. That was great. So Paige is out there because he's the number 1 contender.
I'm going to go out for this joke, but still not the worst fall Hart took out of pay-per-view.
Whoo! Hey now. Write your complaints to AskTheWarReport at gmail.com. We'll be sure to read them live on air.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself.
But it was a good segment. MJF got over. Then of course you have Jimmy Havoc and Jungle Boy come out and them and Adam Page run MJF off as Bret Hart unveils the championship.
Gorgeous title.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's a very nice belt, a title, championship, whatever you want to call it. I like that they're showing you that the mid card guys like MJF is not going to be a main eventer right away. Jungle Boy's not going to be a main eventer right away. Jimmy Havoc's not going to be a main eventer right away. But they're all being featured. They're letting you know. They're saying, hey, these guys are important. You should know who they are. I think there's a lot of money in this Jungle Boy kid.
Yes.
He needs to put on about 50 pounds of muscle. What was that, Eric?
That's Luke Perry's son.
Yeah, Luke Perry's son is great. I mean, he's absolutely, he's only like 20, 21, something like that. So I'm excited to see where he goes.
They have a lot of young talent on that roster.
Brian Pillman Jr.
They did reference him as Flying Brian.
Yeah.
Jr.
Well, he came out looking like one of the Midnights. He had his hair all bleached out and a big, he already had the mullet, but he had the bleached out, straightened, buzz-cutted mullet. Like he had the 70s mullet. Like he was real deep, which would look great. But now we're into the part of the pay-per-view that everybody wanted to see.
Oh my God.
Cody with Brandy.
Hold on. First of all, the beginning with the throne up the plate was so great. What a great touch. And the crowd went crazy.
I was like, oh, this is going to make some people mad online. And it did.
Yeah. But it was so well done. And, God. All right, go ahead.
Well, we start off with a throne with skulls and a big cross. And Cody walks down to the ring. Brandy hands him a sledgehammer. He goes back, smashes the throne. Everybody pops. People complain online simultaneously that he's taking another shot at the WWE. And then Dustin makes his entrance. They call him the Natural. He comes out as the Natural Dustin Rhodes. He's got half his face painted red and black and kind of like a cat thing. I don't quite know what the gimmick is, but he's got the half paint kind of reminiscent of Gold Dust, the bodysuit reminiscent of Gold Dust, but it's black and red and it says the Natural. And they went out there. They didn't...
They wrestled their fucking asses off. And I just want to say this.
They wrestled a wrestling match, man. Like a old school wrestling match. Go ahead.
Old school, bloody, emotional. I mean, that match really hit on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Just even at first of all, you got something special when the crowd starts chanting, "This is awesome," before the match even fucking starts.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd was so great with the dedications to Dusty. You could
emotionally invested.
You could even see Cody wipe his eyes right before the bell. This has been a match that is so long overdue. And part of me says the WWE had their chance to really showcase this generational type of match, and they didn't do it the way they were supposed to. But then I want to say this. After watching what those two did at Double or Nothing, I am so happy that they didn't do it in the WWE, because what we got, we would not have gotten in the WWE. That match was so good and so well done and bloody and passionate. It was, dare I say, match of the entire year. It really was so great. There was not one part of that match that was not incredible.
Yeah, there are a lot of metrics people use when they measure matches. How long did it go? This was not a 60-minute match. It went 22 and a half minutes. That's a good solid time for a wrestling match.
It was long enough.
It wasn't a 60-minute draw. They didn't do all these kind of crazy moves. They did do risk-taking stuff.
There were a few. I mean, Dustin
Rhodes looked amazing.
Yeah, Dustin wrestled like a guy 30 years younger than he is. He did the senton off the apron onto the floor. He did the sunset flip bomb, which looked great for, you thought that was going to be the finish. It was great. Dustin got busted open and gigged himself about fucking 6 inches deep into his skull to make sure that he got it. You got it all the way, Dustin.
Unfortunately, the cameras really got where you knew he was doing that.
Yeah, but if you're somebody like us who's watching, but if you're us, we notice it. If you're average Joe wrestling fan watching on TV, probably doesn't notice that. But yeah,
as soon as that spot happened before he did it, I knew it was coming.
Oh yeah,
and
But it was so
I said,
refreshing.
it was so good.
A lot of blood. Holy fuck.
You know
To
what?
see
And
somebody bleed in wrestling.
There's something to be said about it. You know, it's like, you know, yes, can you have a great match and not have blood? Absolutely. But when you have a match that's so emotionally invested, it just adds to the realism of the match. You get taken away from the fact that they're brothers for a minute. And you really believe that what's going, like they're really beating the shit out of each other, and it just takes you to a different place. You know.
And they went back and forth. There were good false finishes. They both hit the drop down.
There was
It's
that
like
moment. Cody. Oh, sorry, Ryan.
Oh, I said it's like the Austin Hart match at WrestleMania 13.
Very much like that. Yeah.
Without the blood.
And then,
Especially when they got Dustin in the Boston Crab and he looked up.
Yeah.
Was identical to the Austin Bret Hart thing. Eric, go ahead.
with Dustin's blood.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was the ring was covered.
Hebner was covered in it.
Yep, Cody's hair was red by the end of the match.
But you know what made that match
Dripping too.
even better was when the match was over.
The emotion, my God.
And they hugged it out, and Cody came back in the ring and said, "This is not your retirement. I need my brother. I need my older brother." You know, it was so great. Dusty.
I mean, them versus the Bucks, they're going to kill it.
What's that?
Them versus the Bucks, they're going to kill it.
Yeah, I think so. That'll be
crazy.
That should be. I mean, because
there was that moment when DDP came out to.
When DDP came out to take Brandy, that was great. That was, I mean, it was nice to include Dallas because you knew he wasn't going to wrestle, but you know, he acknowledging that he was a part of, you know, Cody's development as a wrestler and part of like
Dusty for so long, and you know.
Yeah, and I mean the guy is a part of wrestling history. That's the other thing is that Diamond Dallas Page is a big part of wrestling history. He became a star. He became a star in an era where somebody like him shouldn't have become a star because they said, "Oh, he was too old. He was too this. He was too that," and he became one of the biggest stars.
He was an anomaly, and he proved everybody wrong.
And you know, he actually set up for our current era now, where you've got guys like Dustin and his age who are still wrestling. You got Triple H who's still wrestling. You got AJ Styles who, you know, he's only 41 or 42, but he's still, you know, people look at him and go, "Well, when's he going to retire?"
I mean, shit,
2 stars like Jake and
yeah, Shane's still wrestling. You know, they're proving that there's something. You know, you don't just have to be the flippy guy. You can do a lot of other stuff to get yourself noticed, to get the emotion out of the crowd. This was a wrestling match. Cody versus Dustin was they wrestled. Like it was. JR made it sound very legit talking about Cody's amateur wrestling credentials, Georgia State champion, all this stuff. Talked about the history of Dustin, talked about the history of their father, Dusty Rhodes, and how this all ties together. And again, the reason I say this was for wrestling fans. If you were a WWE fan, you'd say, "Oh, Dusty Rhodes is that fat guy in the polka dots. What did he ever do? He had 2 years in the wrestling business." Well, no, wrong. He was the fucking man. He was the baddest man on the planet for a very long time until a guy named Ric Flair came along. It was Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, and Ric Flair were the baddest men on the planet at one point. And
amen.
You know, that this match wasn't just the build-up from we signed this match in January or whatever it was, and we're having the match in May. It was the culmination of Dustin's career. It was the culmination of Dusty's career. It was this turned a corner for Cody, just kind of, you know, he's the little brother. He always has been. And now, I mean, he's the man where he's gonna be the one carrying on the Rhodes legacy. So all of that together, and you'd think with the film library that WWE has, the backlog of footage they have of Dusty and of Cody and of Dustin throughout all of their years, they could have made this special and made this a WrestleMania match and made it a featured marquee match at WrestleMania, and they didn't. And now we got this as their literal middle finger to those guys to say, you didn't want to gamble on us.
Wasn't
on ourselves.
Dusty still alive when we could have had that match?
Yes, it was like 2013, 2014. It would have been fine.
My timelines are all.
They did it a throwaway in between WrestleMania.
Yeah. So I have this queued up.
You don't get
to retire
because
here.
this
You
is
don't get
this
that.
is one of the best promos that's been cut in a very long time.
Because I
Amen.
gotta ask you a favor.
In front of
God
God and the whole world.
world. Before AEW was a thing, before we filled this place up, it was me, it was Kenny, it was Matt, it was Nick, it was Tony. And I put my name on a piece of paper for our show next month in Jacksonville for Fight for the Fallen. You know what the match that I put my name down on? It was myself and a partner of my choosing.
I like this part right here where he kind of re-swerves the audience.
Against what I think is the best tag team in the world, the Young Bucks.
I mean, they just wrestled a 20-something minute match, and he's going to come out there and cut this promo. With all the emotion of everybody in the building, with the emotion between him and his brother.
But Dustin, I don't need a partner.
I like that part where everybody kind of flattened out.
I don't need a friend. I need my older brother.
And then they cut to Melissa Joan Hart crying in the audience.
I'm about to cry. Jesus.
It was great. It was a great moment that the people popped. Unfortunately, those moments in wrestling are far and few between.
What
I wish you had more of them.
makes it so special, though?
It does, and that's the thing. That was special. That was lightning in a bottle. If they do that match again, you don't know if that same result is going to happen. But it was everything came together for that to make it as special as it was. Great segment. The final two matches, we'll try and get through these. We're almost at 8. Young Bucks against the Lucha Brothers. For me, I mean, I'll let other people who, if they've watched it, comment on it. For me, this is not a match that you sit down and you go, oh, well, this happened and this guy did this. So, like, just watch just watch it. This is a sit down, watch the match, and be entertained by 4 guys who know what the fuck.
That was edge of your seat match, man.
Out of all of them, Ray Phoenix is going to be they're all superstars, but Ray Phoenix is going to be the fucking guy. He can do some crazy shit.
I'm excited to watch that match.
And again, you know, I couldn't even, if I told you what they did, it wouldn't spoil the match, because first of all, I wouldn't be able to describe it with just words. And second of all, even if I could, you couldn't visualize with all the crazy shit that they did.
Thank God for Lucha Underground, because I wouldn't have known who they were.
Yeah, I'm disappointed Lucha Underground went down the way it did. Because, I mean, it had.
And then they tried to do their superstars dirty, and then it was a whole.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. So, this Young
They're
Bucks.
all in either AEW or Impact now.
Yeah, although I heard, now this is interesting since you mentioned that. I heard that Joey Ryan might be taking a NXT trainer position.
Jesus Christ.
He did turn down.
He turned down AEW, so it's possible that he took.
I don't understand how WWE would even want him. I just don't understand.
I don't know.
Good question.
It seems like he would be outside of the
What they
things
want.
that WWE is trying to accomplish with their image. Yeah.
Although he probably would have fit in with the Attitude Era.
Oh, for sure.
Easily.
Oh, definitely. Dick flips.
He would have been Val Venus' partner.
Oh my God. Yeah, probably. That would have
They
been
would
fair.
have the I choppy your pee off. Because
all right.
Yeah,
So
I suplex with my PP.
yeah.
oh no.
God damn.
They build him a little animatronic to flex it like it had a muscle or something.
Oh jeez.
You know Vince
That's right up Russo's alley, right?
He's got a bicep on his dick. You know what I mean? Like he's just.
I mean, you can tell Vince was probably like watching those what were they called? The druids, the penis druids, and he's.
Oh yeah.
I should have done that.
No problem.
The penis druids a year later.
It would be for Vince, and he'd have his genetic grapefruits.
Yeah, I know. He'd have grapefruits.
It would be a jackhammer.
He has massive grapefruits.
Yes, he does.
Intellectual sperm, if you will.
There you go.
Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, winner faces Adam Page for the AEW Heavyweight Championship later down the road. I liked this match. I read online afterward, and I was shocked that people didn't like this match. I said,
Why did people not like the match?
"Oh, Jericho moved too slow. He doesn't have it anymore. This, that, and the other thing."
That's ridiculous.
That was absolutely ridiculous. He fucked up like one spot to get out of the one-winged angel. That was the only botch they had.
Honestly, the only botch I recall is one of the commentators calling him Generico a couple of times audibly.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's Excalibur because he used to work with Generico.
And they did. Both the Bucks did a callback to El Generico.
Yep, they did an El Generico Kevin Steen spot. They did a Motor City Machine Gun spot. You know, it was a nice little. They were nice little references to their past in pro.
Oh, Jericho's entrance! Oh my God!
Yes, Steve, you haven't seen it yet. Jericho's entrance.
I did watch the
Okay.
entrance. I saw it on a Facebook.
Characters. I mean, oh my God!
Different eras of Jericho, which is great. And then he finally comes out as his "I'm a dad, but I still shop at Hot Topic" gimmick, whatever this is. But he came out, and the thing that I liked is he had these two guys. If you watch, I was watching pretty closely. I want to see what happened. It was a snug, stiff wrestling match, like a brawl style. I don't know. They just hit each other hard. Kenny's nose got broken. That
Is that legit?
Yes, that made the match too, because all of a sudden Kenny comes up. You see it happen. You're like, oh, is he okay? He gets up, his nose is red, it starts bleeding. And throughout the rest of the match, that's a concern because you're like, oh shit, his nose is broken. And I know it really happened to him and that sucks, but it added to the drama of the match, him having a broken nose.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if they did this, but did they change the mats because the mat got real bloody?
Yeah. They put down a new mat.
You kind of have to with that amount.
Yeah, I mean it was
a health hazard.
And
sure.
got a lot of the blood on him too.
Yeah. So I really like this Jericho Omega match, despite what some miserable people like to say online.
I had no problem with that.
I had zero issue with it. I didn't have any issue with how, Jericho's dad bod didn't take me out of the match. He wasn't, it was.
He's still in shape.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's probably in better shape than 90% of the people are saying that.
This is also very true. He won with his new finish, the Judas effect spinning back elbow.
That was pretty cool.
It was cool.
Which Shane ripped off on Raw.
And Andrade put up right after it happened. Andrade put up a GIF of him doing it, and I mean he does it great. But he didn't get it. He's never gotten a pinfall out of it. Let's put it that way. Chris Jericho pinned Kenny Omega with that shit.
Jericho got the win this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the last match that these two had well over a year ago?
It was not this past Wrestle Kingdom, but the one before it in the Tokyo Dome. It was a no disqualification match for Kenny Omega's United States Championship.
Between the two had been building up for quite a long time.
Right. And Omega won that match. And people kind of thought, okay, Chris Jericho put him over. He won his match. They set out what they needed to do. No, this is going longer. Because Chris Jericho won this match, that they're now 1-1. Down the line, they're going to have a third match, and it could be for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Who knows? But big news at the end of the show: Dean Ambrose, not even Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is dead. Long live John Moxley. Comes down to the ring and says, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here." No, he came out of the crowd. He hits the DDT on Jericho. He hits the DDT on the ref. Goes to hit the DDT on Kenny. Kenny spears him out of the ring. They scuffle. They go around ringside. They're fighting. They work their way up to this giant set of poker chips that was stacked up, which was fucking awesome. I love that they kept. Yeah. At first, I thought I was like, oh, they got the 3D graphics like the WWE does, and then at one point, I'm like, no,
they really outdid themselves with the whole Vegas kind of gambling casino thing.
And that's what happens when you have a set specific to the pay-per-view, like the WWE used to do and WCW used to do.
So great.
It made it feel special. So Dean Ambrose hits the dirty deeds. Well, John Moxley hits the grimy somethings. Anyway, he hits the DDT on top of the poker chips and then hits an attitude adjustment. That's got to be another shot at WWE.
Yeah.
He hit a big attitude adjustment off the poker chips onto the part of the stage that Kenny crashes onto. You know it's padded, but it was still a hard as fuck landing. Like, he landed on that one pretty hard. Took a big bump. Yeah. And Dean Ambrose, John Moxley poses to close the show. So you've got set up for later Jericho against Hangman Adam Page for the world title. You got Kenny Omega going against John Moxley. And eventually, I'm sure whoever wins the John Moxley-Kenny Omega feud will be feuding with Chris Jericho for the title. I'm assuming Jericho wins the title here. I don't know what you guys think.
Any combination of those 4 guys is awesome.
And then you throw in Cody. You throw in the Young Bucks. You
Yeah.
throw in any of the guys that they want to build up as new stars. And
They could do Pentagon Jr. by himself.
yes, Pentagon by himself, Phoenix by himself.
By himself, yeah.
I mean, it would be cool if, like, Phoenix, if there was their cruiserweight or intercontinental or U.S. title, and then he wins that, and then Pentagon wins the world title, and then maybe they have like a feud, like who's the better brother. Oh, there's all kinds of shit you could.
I mean, they could recreate their whole Lucha Underground storyline.
Very well could.
Overall, this
Great
was
show.
an amazing show.
It was a great show, and people
And
are
this
trying to
is,
downplay
and like
it.
Steve said, this is a great time to be a wrestling fan because it's only going to make everything better, wrestling in general better.
100%, man. 100%. Competition is good. Unfortunately, we only have a couple minutes here, but I'll get into this really quickly. To me, WWE didn't deliver the show they were supposed to deliver last night.
No.
Almost an hour with no wrestling.
Holiday show. I mean, that's the excuse. But I don't know.
But I don't know. I mean, for them to have Sammy go out of his way to mention nobody even brought up AEW. He brings it up.
Apparently, Sami Zayn's getting shit for that, so I don't know if that was actually legit in the story.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard,
because now I'm hearing that they're going to start planting people for this segment because they can't trust the improv.
just get rid of it. It's a bad segment. Nobody cares.
It was absolutely stupid.
Apparently, McMahon is not happy about many of the WWE superstars who tweeted about AEW.
He can't be.
They might even like, I heard a rumor that they might even somehow punish Renee Young for the whole John Moxley thing.
That would be ridiculous, and that would be a good way to lose fans.
I mean, how would you go about doing that?
Well, I mean, the Usos could put Icy Hot in her underwear, and then she could drag her ass like a dog, like the Revival did. I mean, they had Trish bark like a dog one time with a fucking fire hydrant or whatever else. Like,
Yeah.
they can do it.
We're out of that.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping we're past that as well. This is, he didn't come out as
backlash.
right. Like, if he came out and they're like, oh my God, it's Mean Ambrose, and like he came out and was just
Or
like
just
Dean Ambrose, yeah,
Dean Ambrose, like they did with Nash and Hall.
yeah. But so that's what I'm saying. It's not like he came out and was doing his WWE shtick. He was doing his own thing. I don't know. They set up Moxley against Joey Janela because they had, at the end of the last episode of Being the Elite, Joey Janela lit up a cigarette and Moxley stole his cigarette, and that's how you set up a feud. Apparently, It's over. Like that. It was so simple. It was like a 30-second thing. He stole his cigarette. Boom. Now you've got your next wrestling feud. It's pretty cool.
That's right to the top of the hour.
Right to the top of the hour, man. Well, I'll have plenty more to say next week. I had a whole rant planned about how, and this has been weeks coming, about how Lacey Evans stinks and is a waste of everybody's time and should go back to NXT because she's just a ripoff of Sunny.
You have more fueled tonight.
Yeah, I know. Now we're going to have Lacey Evans overload. We're using the wild card rule, and she's going to wrestle Bailey. God help us.
And again, I must ask, why do we have a brand split if everybody's all over the place?
Yeah.
Reason.
So stupid. I'm sorry.
We talk that and more.
Yeah,
Next week. Make sure you tune in.
SmackDown is starting. Follow us on social media at Tag Me a Date. Go to the Apple App Store or the Google Play App Store. Look for Tag Me a Date on the apps. Download your Tag Me a Date app and register. It's free. The app is free. Registration's free. Searching, matching, messaging, all that stuff is all free. Everything's free on tagmeadate.com. You can find your tag team partner from a roster of over 70,000 superstars and divas all over the world. Location searching by favorite wrestler, by favorite event, etc., etc. And again, it is all free. If you don't want to download an app, that's fine. You can go to tagmeadate.com. Tagmeadate.com, again, is absolutely free to sign up and free to send your messages and make your match. And go to YouTube, not just following us on social media at TagMeADate, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. What are the other? So YouTube, subscribe. Go to the search bar, type in Tag Me a Date, search for our channel, hit subscribe, hit the bell. Ryan has done some great work for us to include our podcast on some new sites, and I'm going to have him tell you what they are. Ryan?
We're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. Let's see here. I'm sorry.
That's all good.
Spotify, and we shall be soon on iTunes.
All right.
Sure to.
We're everywhere, folks.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. So check us out on at one of those services. It will be the same show. You know, if you want to catch it live, it's Tuesdays, 7 p.m. on Eastern time. We go for about an hour. And then from there, once Ryan gets the show downloaded and put up onto the podcast services, they'll be there. So if you want to watch it first, go to YouTube. Subscribe. You'll get the notification when we go live. You'll hear the show live. If you want to wait and subscribe to one of the other MP3 services, you can do that. Either way, we'll be back next Tuesday recording another edition of the War Report, brought to you by tagmeadate.com. Right here, 7 p.m. Tuesday nights, 7 Eastern time. I think that's it. We'll catch you guys next week. Thank you for watching.